Welcome to the Industrial IoT Spotlight, your number one spot for insight from industrial IoT thought leaders who are transforming businesses today. With your host, Eric Walenza.
Welcome back to the Industrial IoT Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Eric Walenza, CEO of IoT ONE, the consultancy that helps companies create value from data to accelerate growth. And our guest today is Mario Pereira, Edge DevOps Engineer at Vopak. Vopak has 400 years of experience in storage and transshipment of oils, chemicals, gases, biofuels, and veg oils across 70 terminals in 23 countries. In this talk, we discuss the path for operators to develop a sophisticated edge and cloud platform, from defining the system infrastructure to prioritizing use cases and functionalities. We also explored challenges related to legacy technology, to the build versus buy versus partner decisions for elements of the tech stack, and finally for the imperative to evolve teams and business processes in order to make best use of new technologies. If you find these conversations valuable, please leave us a comment and a 5-star review. And if you'd like to share your company's story or recommend a speaker, please email us at team@iotone.com. Finally, if you have an IoT research, strategy, or training initiative that you'd like to discuss, you can email me directly at erik.walenza@iotone.com. Thank you. Mario, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Hi. Thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity to be here. Very excited to be. Thank you. About me, my name is Mario, as you said. I'm from Portugal, and currently I'm living in the Netherlands, and I'm working as a senior engineer at Vopak.
So this is, I think, very interesting for me, Mario, because as you know, right, you've listened to our podcast before, you know that we typically interview tech companies. And obviously Vopak is, I guess it is a technology company, but it's a different type of technology than we normally deal with, right? I'm very interested in, as an end user, your your vision for developing solutions internally. But maybe before we get into the topic of the platform that you're building, just tell me a little bit more about the work that you do personally at Vopak.
So first, you said about Vopak to give more context to the audience. Vopak is the leading independent liquid storage company. It's the oldest Dutch company in the world. It's 470 years old, very old company. And what we do, we store vital products in liquid state. We can say oil and gas, industrial chemicals, everything that humankind needs to run. Currently, we have 73 facilities, locations. We call it terminals, and they are located in 23 countries around the world. They are placed in the strategical places, routing places. Vopak as a company is going through a massive digital transformation program, replacing multiple tools internally, ERP, CRMs. And during this transformation, the company itself, the management, detected that we don't only store vital products, we store vital data too, for the company, for the partners, for everyone. So at Vopak, we built our own industrial edge computing platform. Edge computing was already spoken on this podcast before. So what we built a tool that enables and supports other industrial IoT initiatives inside of Vopak, BI, ML, cybersecurity too. So the product itself, what is edge computing, for those that never heard about edge computing, the platform ingests, process at the edge, so on the facility, data from the sensors, from the industrial sensors. We temporarily store the data locally and before sending to the cloud, and then we push it to the cloud. Then in the cloud, other teams use the data for their own initiatives.
It's interesting that you've developed this solution internally, or maybe I should ask how much of the solution was developed internally. Was this a fully internal driven? Did you have a strategic partner that was providing the architecture, or were you working with a system integrator? What was the team that actually developed the solution?
So the partnership, we have partners that helped us building the initial solution, the MVP solution. So our product is based on using AWS IoT Green Grass. To give context, AWS IoT Green Grass allows the capability to run AWS Lambdas and other cloud services at the edge. So it extends the platform of the cloud to the edge. And bear in mind, we started building this in 2018. So at the beginning, we went looking for this type of platforms. We contacted multiple partners, multiple advisors. We did multiple proof of concepts. And then we used a partner, Amazon partner, to help us build this solution and the MVP in this case. But then all the rest of the platform was built by us, our own team. I was lucky to hire at this time, because currently it's very hard to hire engineers because the market is very strong. We were able to hire 2-3 more engineers that helped me building this platform. So the design was made in partnership once again with the partners of Amazon, and then we built the solution ourselves. Regarding that your question.
Are you still building on top of AWS Green Grass today, or have you replaced that with internally built architecture?
We are still building on top of it. To give an additional perspective or point of view of the architecture of what we built. So we built we have IoT Green Grass core, which has 3 Lambdas running. For those that work in the industrial IoT segment, they already know what is OPC UA. So we have an OPC UA Lambda client running at the edge, which ingests the data from OPC UA server. And then we have a Lambda that transforms the data at the edge. And then we have a Lambda that stores locally and in the cloud. And moving on now, we are building additional features on this platform that we built. We are building streaming capabilities where we send real-time data to other departments, or we are building batch operations to other departments, other type of data. For example, previously we were only ingesting OPC UA operational data. So when the sensor changes, the measurement changes, a new tag changes. Now we are already ingesting OPC alarms and events too, and currently we are already assessing other types of data on site that enables another initiatives.
Help understand the thought process behind the selection of AWS Green Grass and OPC UA. I mean, these are both kind of market-leading solutions, so it's not really a surprise that you selected them. But maybe if we start with Green Grass, I guess you evaluated also other solutions. What led you to conclude that this was the best infrastructure to build on?
We are already using our team inside. We are already using AWS a lot. Okay. Majority of our services are running AWS, and we have the pattern to reuse. So we already have acknowledgement in-house, okay? And the second, there are multiple factors, a lot of factors. But unfortunately, at the edge, we did multiple proof of concepts. I'm not saying that your product or other products, but we did multiple proof of concepts. In our view, it's very fragmented. Okay, so we have a product that is very good at ingesting, that scales very well. It's very well to organize the data, structure the data, but then it's not very good at giving additional context at the edge offline at our scale, because we have 73 facilities. Every facility is different. Everything is different. Every sensor is different. We did multiple proof of concepts, and every platform that we went through had their own pros and cons. We did a proof of concept with the IoT Green Grass. The factor costs come in, the people management come in, the reusability for other products come in, and then that leads to for what we are. But bear in mind, I want to just to the listeners, we are now using IoT Green Grass, but at the same time we are already evaluating Sitewise Edge from Amazon, which is the same as us. And I'm not saying that they copied us. We worked very close with Amazon and product management of Amazon, and the product was kind of built based on our feedback. So we are constantly evaluating other products, okay? We are not going to stay using AWS IoT Green Grass forever.
Okay, interesting. That's a good collaboration story with AWS. I want to maybe get into what the platform looks like in terms of use cases. But before we go there, since we're now talking about the development, what were the big challenges along the way? I guess you started in 2018, so it's now 4 years in. What were the challenges here?
So first, I think the audience needs to know we process a lot of data. Currently, we are from the 73 locations, we are live in production in 18, and we are producing at the edge. So at the edge, not in the cloud. We are processing 65 million events per day. In the 18 locations, we have an average of 25,000 sensors. 25, so OPC-UA tags, okay? So 20,000, 30,000 tags. Depends of the size of the terminal. We have a terminal that has 65,000 tags, OPC-UA tags. We had a lot of challenges, not only technology, but majority was on processes, mind shifts. From, I think the one really big one is giving context to the data. So as you everyone knows, the data that comes from OPC-UA, from software engineering and BI and data science, it doesn't give a lot of information. In our case, for example, a tank could be TK004.CV. And that doesn't provide which type of tank it is, which type of sensor it is, which type of measurement it is. We need to give that context, that information, and maintaining these business rules at the edge, at our scale, it's a big challenge. And because every site is different, it can be very challenging. The other problem is not a problem, but the challenge. It's the people itself, and you work with people around the world, multiple cultures, with different expectations, different backgrounds. So I'm a software engineer by nature and by training. Explaining an operator in the field how some tools work can be a little bit scary, in these times of cybersecurity attacks that we live on, and even expectations. You say, okay, I'm going to ingest all this data, and we're probably going to run machine learning and do predictive maintenance and or asset optimization, and we'll help the operator. And they think, okay, after 2 hours of ingested data, that I can already do it. And I need to say, no, we need like 5 years of data in order to help you. Another one is, once again, was the security. I was telling at the edge. Every day you see like the Colonial Pipeline hack. Last year, they were offline. Security is a big challenge at our scale. The operational part of it, like the monitoring, logging, tracing, monitoring of the data quality, the monitoring of the processing time, the throughputs. So we are sending a lot of data, right? In places where the internet is not that good, or the connection to outside world is then not good.
Let me then ask, there's many different challenges, and I think you can, at a very high level, you can kind of break the challenges into IT challenges and OT challenges. So you have cybersecurity, you have high data volumes, and then you also have processes and the people challenges of getting the end users on board with the use the new applications. First of all, is this driven by the CIO office or the head of engineering or the COO office? And then what does the actual project team look like? You've mentioned that there's a few developers, but who else is involved in the project team to address all these challenges?
This is an interesting, very nice question. Regarding who took the initiative, this comes from the top. We really want to become data-driven. Is one of our goals of the company itself, becoming data-driven. We want to take smarter decisions. And one of our big KPIs is safety. And this data allows to make maintenance operations in a way more safe way, right? We can have drones, we can have all this technology that allows to reduce accidents in the terminals, and have a safe. Everyone needs to go safe at home, But the team is a very nice question. We are like a use case inside of Vopak. Our team is very small. From projects, so it's me, another DevOps backend engineer, whatever you want to call it. We have an industrial engineer, so a person that really understands Modbus, the OPC-UA, the LoRa, all these protocols, machine OPC-UA, OPCDA, these industrial protocols, these machine-to-machine communication protocols. I have then a project manager, team leader, but comes with a technical background too. And we have an architect that helps us, solutions architect, when the business has like a request, I want to do this, I want to build this dashboard. It translates the business needs to a technical need. That's it. That's our team. It's a very small team because we are very DevOps approach, very agile. We develop, we test, we deploy. Everything is in the CI/CD. Everything is automated with test coverage of 99.5%. We have integration tests, unit tests, regression tests. load tests, security tests. It's a use case, how we can, and maintaining this. We have on call, we have 24/7 in a very small, agile, high performance. And bear in mind that our team is very senior and very good guys. So once again, I was lucky to have them, to be able to hire them. So it's a very small team.
Okay, yeah, that's great. But I think it's a luxury to be working on a small but very capable team.
Yeah, luxury. To be honest, I've already been in other companies that processed the same amount of data, stored the same amount of data, and the team was 10 times bigger.
Exactly, and that a lot of additional complexity then in managing the people there.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's. So it's interesting that you've really built this as an edge platform, right? Because I think that's where we're moving, but a lot of companies are still figuring out their edge strategy. There's the question of what's different between the edge and on-premise, and kind of traditional on-premise. And I think that the main thing is that the edge actually is deeply related to the cloud, right? And so, talk to me about how do you balance processing, storage, et cetera, between the edge and the cloud? How do you decide where work needs to get done?
At the edge, we ingest, once again, the data. We transform the data. We give meaning to the data. We filter the data. So we use, for example, the deadband algorithm to filter. We use the one that is very used in the operational domain, which is the swinging door compression algorithm. So in order to compress the data, locally we store the data, the raw data, so the data that comes from LPC-way servers, and the data that is normalized or transformed data. And then we only send to the cloud the data that is the deadband data and the data that's passed through the swinging door algorithm. It goes from all terminals. So it's like in every edge location, we have raw data and the data not filtered. And in the cloud, we have the data that is filtered, but is transformed from all locations. In the cloud, we store it in a single, not a single, but in a cluster. In the cluster, which then has an API that exposes data to ERP, CRMs. And we have the capability, once, as I was telling, to stream the data. We stream data through a service from Amazon that is Kinesis to an S3 bucket, which then the BI team uses to create dashboards. For example, the OPC-UA alarms and events, they then do analytics over the alarms and events, like which asset is leaking more, which asset is vibrating more or giving problems. And then we have a batch, Blast Batch. It's once again another service from Amazon. By the way, I don't work for Amazon. We just use a lot of services from Amazon. You can do the same for the people that are listening to this. They can do the same with any other cloud provider nowadays. They can use it with Azure. They can use it with Google Platform. It doesn't matter. And then we have a batch service that batches the data and sends it to the data science team, where then the data science team uses these data to train their machine learning models.
Coming back to this organizational question, then you then have three teams. You have your team, which owns the platform. You have the BI team, which is building dashboards and kind of front-end applications for different users. And then you have the data science team that's building the algorithms. How do these teams work together and make sure that they're coordinating well to bring the right solutions to the organization?
Even one step back, our data department, data analytics, is doing awesome work. Even before jumping to the teams, we need use cases, right? And our data team is doing a huge, amazing work on setting up training courses and foundations to the terminal managers, senior managers, where they teach what they can do with the data. Because you can have all the data and all the teams can be working very well. And our teams work very well because Vopak, it's big, but inside we look like a family. And we are very agile inside. So the communication flows very well. And we communicate very well. We follow the agile practices. We have the scrums of scrums. So it's a 407 years old company that is transforming from inside. It's changing itself. Sometimes looks like a tech company, to be honest. We have a very good communication between departments. When they have a new feature, Slack message, I have this new feature, let's test it. that's another topic. But even before reaching to the teams, it's the use cases. And our data science team is creating these trainings and courses for everyone in Vopak to have some data information literacy, where they can learn what they can do with the data.
That's a really good point. That it's not just about these teams working together; it's about getting the whole organization involved. And I've got to ask you a follow-up question, because I was just helping a client kind of think through their Industry 4.0 approach, and we were talking about this question of how do you train the organization that doesn't need to be able to do data science? They don't need to be able to, build dashboards or anything, but they need to understand how it can provide value to them. And the question there was, how broad do we go? Do we really try to train everybody? Do we go down to the people on the shop floor and try to, because they're also users, right? They're, or do we identify the 5% or 10% of people that are going to be most active users? So what was your approach? Was it rolling this out company-wide or identifying specific kind of individuals?
What I can tell you right now is currently they are doing these per levels, okay? They do, when they release a new application or a new functionality, they give trainings to people on site. They train the people how to use, they explain what they can do with information. In our case, of the edge platform, what they can do with the data. Before going to one terminal, before going to one on site, we go there as a team. We go to the terminal, we talk with the people on the floor, we talk with managers, with engineers on the floor, and we try to explain what the platform does, what they do, what they can do. But this is us, our team. As an organization, they're currently training mid-levels, top levels, but then it's like it's organical, the other people will then train and teach and explain how the things work to the others. I can give you an example. We did, this is a little bit buzzword, but the digital twin, right? The modeling, the 3D. And we had very good contact, and we explained what we can do with the on-site team. They enjoyed very much how to see the representation, the physical representation. And in these times of people working from home, and it's very nice that they can see what is really there when they are not there. I can give you right now an example. The capability to do analytics over alarms and events, it comes from the field. So the field itself asks for things. We have a department that is called Innovation Department, and this Innovation Department is constantly talking with the field, and they are the field asks things. Oh, can we do this? Can we do this with the data? So the people even in the field, they are already aware what they can do with the data a little bit. We live in the world that software is eating the everything. Software is everywhere. So the people are already understanding that they need data. Even giving us the training, people already know. As an organization, we're kind of lucky.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? That, I don't know, probably 30 years ago, it was the industrial or the B2B side that was kind of pushing the technology forward, maybe 40 years ago. And now it's consumer, right? So everybody kind of knows that you can use data for a lot of different ways to make decisions, because you use that all the time just as a consumer. And then, it becomes more the question of, okay, how can we now leverage these technologies, internet technologies for my job, right? It's a bit of a transition. Let's then do a quick walk through the use cases. And I'm sure you have a long list. So maybe you can help us put some structure into it. Like, how do you classify different use cases? How do you, which ones are the really transformative ones? Which are the kind of the quick wins, or maybe the efficiency gains, but not necessarily transforming how you work?
The quick wins, the easy ones to win, is the ones that have more customer impact or facing. For example, the my CRM or the CRMs or ERP's data, which customer can see currently it's public. Customers can see the level of their tanks, or what is the status of their product inside of the tanks. This data comes from us. So this is a thing that is very important. And on priority is very easy to do and quick to do, and gives a lot of return. That's the first one, probably the most important, which has more impact on the customer. Internally, we have the second one, probably more important, is besides safety, it's the energy management or pollution levels reduction, where we do peak shaving, for example, where we control how much energy, because sometimes we have pumps or valves that are heating and they don't need to be heating. So we can do a management through our data. Of course, then we have the predictive maintenance, because, vibration, we can detect through vibration in the spectrum. When something maybe is get broken, we have a limit of vibration. Or there's equipment, or even 3D printing equipment before it gets broken. And then we have currently Vopak is investing a lot, and it's public, people can know, Google it. We are acquiring companies that provide sensors, industrial sensors, ATEX certified, which are able to put not smart like a pump or a valve, which doesn't have sensors, and we can just plug in or add a sensor. So it's another priority. So I'm trying to go by a list of priorities of impact and quickiness, because it's hard you to retrofit all assets with new sensors. So it takes more time. The predictive maintenance takes more time because you need a lot of data. But the energy management, you don't need so much data, like 1 year of data or 2 years of data, and it's enough. But the most important currently is the CRM and ARP, because the customer can effectively see his data. Of course, then we have other proof of concepts that we are doing, like autonomous robots, like Boston Dynamics lookalike, drones that do asset inspection. And recently we invested in one of the companies that does that in Singapore. We collect that data too. So it's very important. And currently we are doing proof of concepts or proof of values with 3D modeling, so the digital twin, which this is very nice to avoid problems or accidents in the terminal. For example, see what is the temperature live and what is the liquid state on live terminal in the jetty, right, in the tube. Small things like that we are doing. I hope that this answered your question.
Yeah, that's great. So then my follow up here, I was just doing a bit of a benchmarking in the battery market, and one of the companies we looked at was a company called CATL, CATL, which is the market leader in EV battery manufacturing. And they are, I think, a little bit similar to you in that they've developed a lot of internal technology. They're quite sophisticated in terms of how they operate now. And they've just put $500 million into a software business, basically with the goal of taking the internal tools that they've built, developing those into a new company, and then selling those upstream and downstream to their suppliers and their customers, and basically becoming kind of a tech company. And I'm curious, because you mentioned earlier that you're also internally acting a bit more like a tech company now. Are you also looking at starting to monetize technology that you're developing, or what's your thought on this?
That I don't know, to be honest. It's about my pay grade. That is something to my management team to reply. If it will be a good thing, maybe. Who knows? Market is so fragmented, and it's our software for our use case. If it's possible to give this as an edge platform to another company, because it's just an OPC way. But we have a lot of business rules, like on the sensors, and that probably does not apply to all companies. Maybe to this type of company, storage liquid company, maybe. But once again, every sensor is different, every terminal is different. So once again, the challenge was at the beginning, the early stage, and it still is. We are working very hard on it, is the contextualization of the data, giving meaning to the data, and maintaining this meaning on the data.
Yeah, no, it's a fair answer, and it's funny because I see a lot of Chinese companies doing this, like saying, okay, we're an oil and gas company like Sinopec or somebody, and we need to develop our own platform because and I think it might be a little bit policy driven, because I don't see so much, let's say, American and European companies doing this, even though they have a lot of domain expertise and sophisticated solutions. So it's just interesting to see how this is evolved a bit differently, maybe a bit policy oriented in China, in terms of these companies trying to become more tech oriented in their revenue as well.
The problem is that in the digital transformation process, I already spoke multiple times with other companies, because our technology and they are curious. How do you like a use case? People come to us. I think when you do the digital transformation, a lot of companies don't see this is a marathon. You're not going to do this in 2 years or 3 years, or it's like a 10 years or 15 years plan. You need to hire a lot. You need to change all your structure. You need to change the processes. You need to change your structure of your company, the mindset. And a lot of companies maybe, because our business, let's see, if you now focus on technology, not on your business, I think the most you're saying Americans and European companies, this company, if you are a tech company, your business is tech, right? You are selling, but it's tech. So it's you need to reshift your mentality and still keep your business working. Or you think, okay, tech can enable my business, can give me new models of revenue, or help me save money. But in order to do this, you need to invest first. Not invest only on technology, but on people. You can say you buy software, right? But you still need to buy people, hire people that know this software, they know how to use, they know how to implement, they know how to maintain it. And then you need to convince people that this technology is going to solve X and Y problem. So it's all about the mentality. I think digital transformation is not about tech. It's about changing the mentality, the mindset, to achieve great things. In order to explain that technology even a non-technology company can be a technology company. And that's very hard. You have a business to maintain, you have a business to run, and now you need to worry about technology too. That's a big challenge, which China, culturally speaking, once again, working with different people, with different cultural, I get that. Asian countries, not China, but Asian countries are more currently directed to technology, Maybe because of resources, I don't know. I can see that if you go to Singapore, I was in Singapore, I see way more technology. I've already been in the United States multiple times. If you are in San Francisco, you live and breathe technology. So it's all about resources and mentality and mindset.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and maybe this is a good place for us to wrap up with the question of kind of how do you build that. So let's try to keep it simple. If you were talking to somebody that's been kind of put in a project management or a leadership role, but maybe kind of starting where you were 3 or 4 years ago, what would be the 2 or 3 things that you would advise them to do to improve their chance of having success and then minimize the cost along the way?
Start small, very small. In our case, we started with a small prototype, a small sensor. It start small and make noise. So we start small. We built with only one sensor. We built a dashboard. It was quite funny because it was a sensor that just a red button. and people will pass by my desk and click in the button very hard, and they will see stuff blinking in my screen. And we did then an Alexa integration where people will ask, what is the status of the color of the button? It was a PLC, Allen Bradley PLC that we had, the training kit from Allen Bradley. You can buy it in Amazon for €300 or something like that. We did the proof of concept with that, with Allen Bradley PLC. We showcased it very fast. It took me 2 days with the help, of course, the partners, but 2 days, 3 days to build the MVP. Of course, more time it takes than you build a production-ready platform. 2 days, 3 days, we built the MVP, we built the dashboards. We tested and see people, do you like this? Do you don't like this? Automatically went to the field and talking with people, do you like this? Don't like this? What do you think if you do this? Of course, you're going to hear a lot of no's. I don't want that. I don't need that. But I'm going to use every for the expression. If you ask customers, if you ask customers if you want cars or faster horses, they will probably ask faster horses, right? It starts small, like more lean. Start small, prototype fast, measure success, measure the feedback, the type of feedback, and iterate very quick. If it doesn't work, kill the project fast. Work in something new, something different, something that they really want. For us, was kind of was the whole factor. I think the Alexa integration was quite funny, to be honest. In the dashboards, I think people got very excited. That was easy to do. Because, when I said it took 2 days. Oh, 2 days for this. Then you can do this, the production quick. Yeah, and it is true, it was quick to do.
And did you basically followed that same methodology or mentality through? So you didn't say, okay, we're going to map out the architecture for this plan and we're going to devote 24 months to building it and then launch, but you were kind of like step by step, just incrementally building functionality, or how did you go from that first MVP to, real value in the operations?
Step by step, starting small, not a big bang change, and here it's done. Here's the product done. Here's the key. No, because that then people will start waiting. They become agitated. Let's use this word. Where where it is, where is what you promote? You need to listen people and listen to what they want. And we started small, giving small features, measuring that. But bear in mind, when you are at our scale, if you are a person with a company with one factory plant or two plants, and like with 10,000 sensors or 5 or not a lot of sensors, in our case, it's a lot of places. If you are a factory, what I want to say, with a lot of factories, you need to building with automation and monitoring first, okay? Because the retrofit of it is very hard then to do when you are already live in 10 places with 10,000 sensors. We use that methodology to start small and continue to do that iteration continuously.
Great advice. Good. I think that's a very interesting case here. Anything else, Mario, that you'd like to share with the audience?
Vopak is hiring everywhere in the world. A lot of positions from OT to IT to non-OT to non-IT. Visit our website. We have the Dutch version and English version. Yeah, and if you have any question regarding what we built, feel free to reach me. The only social network that I use is LinkedIn. Yeah, feel free to reach me.
Great. Well, sounds like a great company, and we'll put your LinkedIn in the show notes. Thanks, Mario.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into another edition of the IoT Spotlight podcast. If you find these conversations valuable, please leave us a comment and a 5-star review. And if you'd like to share your company's story or recommend a speaker, please email us at team@iotone.com. Finally, if you have an IoT research, strategy, or training initiative that you would like to discuss, you can email me directly at erik.walenza@iotone.com. Thank you.